Good morning from Tenerife, internet peoples, and it really is a good one because we get to see this in the morning light. These weird rock formations are called Roques de Garcia, shaped by the same volcanic forces that built the entire island. Today we're doing an iconic hike and then a hidden gem to finish it off. The iconic one you probably guessed, a loop trail around Roques de Garcia. It's a short 4.5 km hike with less than 200 meters of elevation gain, very beginner friendly but packed with shapes you won't believe are naturally formed. The name Roques de Garcia translates pretty directly to the Roques of Garcia, that Garcia being a landowning family based in the nearby town of Villaflor at the end of the 19th century. Nothing romantic or poetic here, unlike some other legends I'll get into in future vlogs. So yeah, keep an eye on this channel, subscribe if you enjoy this kind of adventure. Some of the shapes in this geological complex have names, like this one resembling a thumb. This is called Roque Cinchado, probably the most photographed rock in all of Spain. Roque means rock and Cinchado refers to that strap going around the rock's waist, looking like a belt. The rock itself is phonolite or clinkstone, a volcanic rock that literally rings if you strike it. That's where the name comes from. This famous rock was plastered everywhere, from stamps to 1000 peseta bills to movie posters. For decades, this was the symbol of Tenerife before Teide took over the postcards. Here's the thing though, it's falling apart. The rock is inherently fragile and it will collapse under its own weight. Now there are sensors monitoring the cracks because a major rockfall isn't a question of if, but when. So that fence around it is there to prevent people from abruptly ending their holiday with a possible first-page news drama, should that monolith suddenly lose against gravity. These bushes and plants look dead and dry, but that's because we are here in October. If you come in May, there will be a full bloom and the landscape is a lot more vibrant. Nevertheless, you get ample photographic opportunities here, such as this, framing Pico del Teide between these two spires. Looking in the opposite direction, towards the main road we see the third highest peak in Tenerife, Mount Guajara. Fun fact, at 2718 meters it's exactly 1 kilometer lower than the big boy, Pico del Teide. From Guajara you get one of the best views of Teide on the entire island. This is an info board, a free advertising space for tourists with stickers. But looking past it, the vastness of the Llano de Ucanca plain is laid before our eyes, with the Las Cañadas caldera rim towering in the distance. That massive formation on the plain is called the Cathedral, and from here may not look it, but we'll get very close to it and you'll see why it's named that. There definitely is a face in these rocks here. Let me know in the comments if you spotted it. I'll post a series of photos at the end and this face will be one of them. Now let's have a quick history lesson. Don't worry, I'll keep it painless. You have to understand that we are basically walking through a graveyard here, the skeleton of a dead supervolcano. Long before the big boy Teide showed up, there was a massive volcanic beast here called Las Cañadas and it was an absolute monster, making Teide look like a molehill. But about 170,000 years ago, it had a very bad day. When the magma chambers emptied, a massive chunk of the volcano collapsed and slid into the ocean. Imagine several Teides collapsing and rushing into the Atlantic at 300 kilometers an hour. It was a cataclysm that obliterated the mountain in a matter of minutes, destroying what took millennia to build in the blink of an eye. So, why are these rocks still standing? These dikes are the hardened arteries of the beast. This is the magma that froze solid inside the ancient vents, the internal architecture that was harder than the rest of the mountain. Over thousands of years, the wind and rain ate away the softer rock, rotted the flesh of the bones really, leaving these jagged volcanic veins exposed to the elements. This dark twisted stuff is called pahoehoe, a Hawaiian word for smooth lava. Here we have a better vista over the Llano de Ucanca plain. Ucanca was actually a Guanche princess, daughter of Bencomo, the greatest Mensei ever. Legend has it she was in love with Tinguaro, Bencomo's half-brother, and the very same general who slaughtered 2,000 Spanish invaders at Acentejo. But Tinguaro didn't love her back. He chose another woman, Guajara, whom he also married. Devastated, Ucanca went into this barren wasteland, sat down and eventually died of exposure and grief. The sky god, Achaman, saw her from Teide, came down and covered her body with rocks. As for Tinguaro, he was killed in the rematch with the Spanish at Aguirre, and to complete the Guanche Game of Thrones saga, his wife Guajara jumped to her death from what's now called Mount Guajara, which you saw earlier. Enjoy the view! We're near the end of this short but beautiful 4.5 kilometer trail around the formidable formations of Roques de Garcia, and we're greeted with a panorama of the spires with Teide rising above all in the background. We have witnessed time at work here. What we are seeing is just a single stop-motion frame on a geological scale. And with that being said, back to the car. The parking lot was nearly empty at sunrise, and now, as you can see, it is the most crowded place on the island. So, no time to lose, let's get going to a hidden gem. And here we are, Mirador de Samara, a viewpoint with a small parking lot where the Samara loop begins. It's a shorter loop than Roques de Garcia, but it is truly beautiful. And the cherry on top, the sunset seen from the rim of the Samara crater. This trail is truly gorgeous because the dark volcanic soil is peppered with the last frontier of the canary pines, an endemic species with some fascinating biological contradictions. On one hand, the needles are incredibly long, soft and elastic to the touch, almost delicate. On the other hand, the tree is a survivalist. Its thick, laminated bark acts as thermal insulation against forest fires. After the massive 2023 fire, countless trees here look like dead, charred skeletons, but they weren't. They simply shed the burnt outer layers and sprouted back to life directly from the blackened trunk. It takes a lot more than an inferno to kill these ones. This is the Samara crater. To the naked eye it doesn't look like much, just a hole in the dark volcanic ground. But the point isn't looking at it, it's looking from it. Because come sunset, this unassuming pit becomes one of the best viewing platforms on the entire island. The trail continues through scattered pines, part of the Corona Forestal, which sounds far more romantic in Spanish than forest crown does in English. This pine belt wraps around the entire Teide plateau, thriving between 1000 and 2000 meters. We're right at the upper limit here, which is why the trees are thinning out. They're running out of altitude to work with. And here we are at the highest point of the trail. You get a commanding view of Pico Viejo and Teide, but the terrain has shifted. We've left the pines and walked straight into the Chahorra eruption. This black wasteland flowed here in 1798. In geological terms, that is a blink of an eye. Cornelia here demonstrating the golden rule when in Teide National Park. Plenty of hydration. Seriously, bring a lot of water. The air is deceptively dry up here, and sunscreen. At this altitude, the sun isn't trying to tan you, it's trying to cook you. If you've never been to Mars, this is the closest you'll get without a rocket. And I'm not being poetic, scientists actually test planetary rovers here because the geology is a near perfect match. It is silent, barren and completely hostile. Basically, it's an alien planet, just with better oxygen and cheaper parking. And so that's a wrap. 1 day, 2 trails, absolutely doable and perfectly splendid. The final act, watching the sun dip behind La Palma into the sea of clouds. As promised, I'll leave you with a series of images from both trails. Please subscribe if you're inclined, and I'll see you in the next adventure.